yeah, 20 people on so far. So welcome aboard, guys. I guess we'll slowly get more people showing up, and we'll get everybody in here. So I guess it'll really depend on what happens as things continue to hopefully, go where they're supposed to be going as the each day passes for Ontario and that type of stuff, and the GTA. Hopefully we can, like I said, kind of start crushing this and get back to somewhat normal. But at the same time, it would be interesting to see if we can somehow, maybe limit or maybe do a combination. So, for example, I know that Eric, we would normally broadcast from the Loblaws room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's potential there to do a sort of a Zoom meeting as well from that room. So, and by that, what I mean is, for example, we could hold a live meeting with a handful of guys, and then we could also have the Zoom meeting going from, for example, a laptop or such, and away we go. I think we'll have to figure it out.
I could do the same mechanism once again, just from my phone. That would work as well. I do like the Facebook Live because it allows you to archive it and
Go ahead, Les.
Immediately. Anyways, I'm sharing my screen now. You can see up, and sorry, I didn't remember exactly who sent what in. So please just unmute yourself and start speaking when you see your picture up here.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sure. That's I can see. That's mine.
Good.
I'm Garvin, by the way.
Hi, Garvin.
Yeah. As I sent the email to Eric, these are really, really tiny ones that I built. I believe, yes, from my memory, they're 2000 class vessels. The rear one, the black one that I'm pointing to right now, is the Enterprise, which was the one I really, really wanted to get. It took me 5 tries before I got it. And the one in the foreground, the one with the green deck, that's one of the Japanese. I believe it's called the U.S. No, sorry, it's not the USS Hiru, but it's the Japanese. I believe it's called Ruku.
Okay.
So
you said a couple pictures.
That's about it for now. I just found this is the one on which is including the water display on which it's supposed to be placed on.
Very cool.
They actually come up with something like nine aircraft. Of course, I only cut out a few of them. Those were the really hard ones to cut out since they're so teeny weeny.
How big are these in real life? Like how many inches?
In real life?
Well, like here, no, there's nothing here to scale these against.
Yes. So like when I built them, right, they're basically they can stand in the palm of your hand.
Okay.
That's how tiny they are.
Very cool. And I know, Garvin, you sent a couple more pictures, but they're not going to come up in the right order, so
okay, no problem.
They'll come up in a minute. Oh, I know this is Amanda's.
It's just a what if fun build.
Yeah. I
got from Bob a bunch of the kits he's selling off. $4 for the 2 kits, so I just combined them.
That's $8 right there. Nice. Very cool. And this is yours too.
Yeah, the Trumpeter's M915 tractor trailer. It's just a civilian truck used in Army service. I don't like some of the photo etch. It's so touchy and already had 1-piece break.
And this is yours too.
This is my 4th FAMO. This is the 6-ton crane, which is a 9/1.
I think you sent. There's a picture of it in the book.
It's one of the cranes still exists, but not on the FAMO.
Right.
They mounted it on I think a smaller half track, which it never carried.
Right. Thank you. Moving on. Sorry, this one's a little small. This was the size it came in at, though. Whose was this? No, I don't think. Yeah, don't
Maybe
think.
they're not on the call, so.
I guess not. No, I can't. Some people just sent them in without being able to join in. Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's
Huey.
mine, Paul.
that's Paul's. Yeah.
So that's a CH-118 Iroquois, otherwise known as a Huey in Canadian service. So this is a Hasegawa, but it's not the best kit of a Huey. And the color, I'm not sure the color is right. I went with the instructions, which gave some Gunzi number, which translates to me, a Japanese green. Yeah, I don't think that's quite the right color, but I'm going with it. And basically, the kit had no interior, so I scratch built the benches because it was just an empty interior. And that if you keep the doors closed, the doors don't really fit. So it's a better option to keep the doors open, I guess.
What scale?
Kind of work in progress. It kind of looks, the paint looks a little splotchy because I touched it up. It was originally coated in Future, and I touched it up with a flat paint again. So that's why it kind of has those splotches. It hopefully will be all one kind of shade when I recoat it.
Right. What scale was this, Paul?
It's 1/72.
72. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's a tiny
The other thing I noticed too, and I don't know if anyone notices, when you take pictures of your models, you notice stuff that you didn't notice before, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking by
Oh,
the
yeah.
door frame. There's a piece of, by the window, the front window, there's a hair there, right? So I didn't actually see before.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I kind of find it's a good idea to take pictures of models because it gives you a different perspective on how it looks, and you see stuff you didn't see before. Sometimes it looks better. Some parts look better. Sometimes, parts look not better.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah.
Up next. Oh, this is Harvey's. Yeah, I guess he hasn't joined us yet.
He hasn't joined us yet. Yeah, no.
All right. Well,
then-
if he comes, we can. I can quickly pull this up again, and he can show this off because this is a work of art as usual from Harvey. Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that was all I got this time.
Oh, you're kidding me. All right.
Yeah, like I said, 21 pictures from 4 or 5 different people.
Wow.
I sent stuff in, but it's not up there.
Oh, who's that? Stuart?
Stuart, yeah.
Did it go to me?
Whoever was on that email at the bottom.
Might have been. I took Robert's name out of the email invite this time. So
No,
it
I
should've-
realize that, and yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't send it to Robert this time. I know that. Let me just see. It says on here, Eric McDougall.
That's me.
Oh, there you go.
I got
Check your
email.
spam folder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you probably have me.
Check your spam folder.
Let me just see if it went through successfully here. Yeah, it looks like it did. And is there pics attached, or did I forget the pics? No, the pics are there. Anyway, that's okay. I'll do it next time.
What was the picture of? What
It was the Fiat G50. Fiat.
Anthony has an update on his Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's a good question. So again, because that was something else. Like the way you're modeling that, Anthony, was just something else. So.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, there's been no progress. I mean, work has been very busy these days. Got a number of different things lining up. But I do work on, besides that, the Lord of the Ring, I do work on a scratch building some figures, mainly the 75mm horse, and also I build the figures on top of it. And I plan to make it out based on the game. What's the game? What's it called? The Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a third version of that. One of the characters is called. I cannot remember what it is. My kids play the game, but anyway, I thought that it was pretty cool. And he's got the Native American blood with the British side. Or the mother is a Native American, and the father is a British. But unfortunately, he and his father were standing on the opposite side. One is called the Templars, and the other one is the Brotherhood. So they are against each other. But anyway, I found one of the drawings on the internet, and I found that it's cool. So at the first place, I was thinking about what it's just an exercise, right? So I just want to practice it, but it turned out to be not too bad. So I finished the horse, and I moved on to the figure itself, and I think I'm getting there, but I just kind of put it down for a while. So if you guys would give me 2 minutes, I'll go grab it and quickly show you in front of the screen.
Yeah.
Video call that I've done today. So
I saw these. Yeah.
you wanna?
Ying, go ahead though.
Hi guys.
Hey.
These are, as you remember, these are the old Verlinden figures from way, way back. I really was surprised when I got these because I had totally forgotten about that. Verlinden always made their little figures a little oversized, so they tend to be a little Neanderthal compared to regular 35th scale figures. But my thing about these were, for example, the driver with the goggles on. I actually painted those eyes in. They never had eyes before. It was just plain. And usually glasses like that, they don't usually make them shaded, right? So I knew that, and I was like, oh, I gotta paint the eyes in. So that was my big challenge, and all of that was painted in oil paint. So it's been a little while for me since I last painted, but it's sort of a kind of get back on the bike and ride again. But what I found about oil paint is that you can't do that in one sitting because the colors are hard to show off in the very first time that you try the paint.
Sure.
So you have to let it dry and then come back again to make the, like, for example, the lighter colors stand out more. They tend to blend away when they're still all wet. So what you're seeing there is the end result with a little flat finish on there to really bring it back to reality.
What else do we have here? Just a few more figures.
Yeah, these ones are my Israeli Defense Force tank crewmen, and they are the ones on the opposite ends of each other are from Meng, and the one in the center is from a resin company called Valkyrie. Of course, the heads on either end are from Hornet, but the one in the center is also, no, that's the original Valkyrie head. So that's just the interesting thing about, how would I say it? Figures that you get from plastic styrene are not that well done. And I've always found that a resin head will stand out a lot better in any which way. You can get away with the styrene made figure, but the head will always give it away.
Right.
So again, here's the same idea, painting in oils, and I approached this really interesting because when I posted this online, I got a call, a message from Michael Mass, who's from Israel, as you all know, and he has a knowledge on Israeli defense and figures and the army there. And he told me I painted the helmets wrong. So I was like, oh no. So off came the heads, and I got to redo the heads because the helmets have to have a desert sand color on them, so I have to repaint them.
Yeah. Those look great. And one more.
These guys are also from Valkyrie. These guys are Bundeswehr West German tank crew figures. These guys were quite fun. And I didn't have to change anything with these guys. The one thing I do really recognize that they go out of their way to go into a lot of detail. So in doing these ones, I actually had to go back with magnifying glasses to actually see the zippers. They have zippers on their uniforms. So I actually had to come back and I applied a simple Prismacolor pencil crayon to the zippers to make them show a little bit better. But I don't know if you can see them that well in the light here. But they're really well done figures. They are a little, how would I say, delicate in some areas, especially the headsets. I had to be careful because I didn't want to break them. And all these figures that you're seeing are all going to be mounted to the series of M48s that you've seen that I brought to the meetings when I used to come to see you guys at the Loblaws. So there's more to follow.
Great. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Well done, Ying.
Welcome.
Welcome, Gates and Garfield.
Hey.
Oh, and Francine again, of course.
Yeah, I know Garfield is having some trouble with his audio, so he's trying to get that to work. But
he can hear us.
yes,
apparently.
yes.
So that's the most important thing.
I can show you what I'm working on here if you want to see it.
Yeah.
This is just for fun. I usually do 1/32 scale, World War One. Actually, a lot of 148, but just for the fun of it, I'm doing this. This is,
Seven,
well, there it goes. That was
72nd?
Yeah, it's 72nd scale. Vickers Wellesley, and I'm doing it for no other reason than for the hell of it. It's a Valam kit. I've been doing like a lot of wingnut stuff, so it's been pretty intense. So after a rigging session, I need something that's simple like this. So it's basic. It's a nice little kit. It's all gloss coated. It's gonna be black on the bottom. Yeah, not much really to say about it. Basic kit. I don't know if anybody does, but you guys out there do 1/72 scale aircraft?
Yeah, I do.
I have to interrupt. I have to interrupt. Sorry, guys. I gotta go drop out. I got an urgent call right now.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I talked to you guys later again.
All right. No
I
worries,
apologize.
Anthony. No worries, Anthony. All right. Have a good night. Yeah, Garfield. That 72nd scale. The Valam kits. I've never done one, but I've heard they can be a little bit finicky, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like special hobby. That kind of class.
Yeah.
I read a review and said, "Oh, it's a Tamiya kit." Well, no, it's not. It's every single part looks like I call it the grilled cheese effect. Like 2 pieces of bread and a piece of melted cheese kind of squishing out. So every part has that, and you got to clean it up. And then there's no locating holes, but they do weird subjects, and if you just feel like something different, well, that's fine. I mean, it's great, So, and
yeah,
you can't see it, but the surface detailing is really nice. It's got the waffle look for the geodetic structure, and yeah, I mean, it's just basically a shelf sitter, nothing really terribly fancy. And then this one as well, which is it's a special hobby. Can you see that? There you go.
Oh yeah, that's a
Northrop, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Northrop Nomad. So working on this, again, it's just out of the box, but every single part you got to clean it up, and you can see it there. You got to clean it up and
lots of filling, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've been into British Commonwealth Air Training Plan aircraft.
Yeah.
In fact, last week went up in a Tiger Moth, which was a hell of a lot of fun. So yeah, so anyway, that's basically what I've been up to.
I don't know about everybody else, but I started really ramping up building a little bit more. I slowed down on making my beer, so I'm really trying to focus a little bit more on building. And I noticed how many kits I have that are sort of like half built. Like I would get frustrated, I just kind of put it aside, and I'd start something else to kind of get the creative juices flowing again. And that kit is still off to the side. Well, I've kind of decided, you know what? I know I'm working on one big kit right now. I'm going to start pulling out, like when I want to take a break from that, I'm going to start pulling out these not older kits, but kits I started and just kind of pushed aside, and see if I can bring those back to life and make them something again, right? And sometimes it's just practice for me. I like, if, for example, for some reason I started the Tamiya Universal Carrier, right? Because it's a Canadian subject, and I thought this is, I mean, it'll be a Tamiya kit. It'll be easy just to throw it together. And for some reason I stopped it. I just didn't continue. When I picked it up again, I found it, and I was like, why didn't I finish this? I started it. I started painting it. I mean, why didn't I finish it? So now I'm going to continue going with this and see if I can apply some new techniques or stuff I've never done before, because I'm not a huge 35th scale armor person. I'm mostly 72nd because I figure, okay, I don't have to show as much detail, you know. But you know, I figured I can try and see if I can work some newer techniques in things I've never done before. Try some things out because I'm not overly concerned that these kits are going into competition, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more, right? So I don't know about anybody else, but I mean that's what I seem to have done lately. I know that I'm pretty sure we all have kits that we do that are like that, where it's kind of like you start them and kind of like right.
I just counted them up. I got 40 started.
The choice I find is making it perfect or finishing it. Somebody says, you know what, this isn't going to be perfect, but I'm just going to get it finished and.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Just trying to I think it's just about finishing it, but I also think it is about continuing to build and do some like I've never really done figures. I've always been afraid of figures, but I see things like when Ying shows off the figures that he's been doing, and I think, oh, this looks awesome. Like I know the techniques, I just haven't bothered to apply them, right? I haven't bothered to use what I know, right? And I've just kind of been maybe I'll just do it later, right? But now is the perfect time to do it because it's work from home 24/7, 365 for the time being, right?
It's always nice to go between, maybe something that challenges you and a simple build. Like I just finished a very old Italeri Skyhawk, and yeah, nothing that would go into a contest, but I had some old Canadian decals, so I did a what if. It was a good simple build and just something fun, and then now I'm going to move on to something that's maybe going to challenge me a little bit more. It all depends on your mood. I'm usually one that maybe has one or two at a time, but whatever works for you. In the end, it's the way you want to build your hobby, and enjoy. But yeah, definitely try new things. I agree with you there, Dave.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, we all you search it out. The beautiful thing about how building now and making now is that there's all this wealth of information out there, right? And if you look hard enough for it, you'll find stuff, right? And it'll maybe help you out and spur you on and that type of stuff. And also not just information like reference information, but techniques and methods, and there's a ton of stuff on YouTube. And I'm not just talking about modeling either. Geez, I want to do my home plumbing. Oh, I could just look on YouTube and try and see if I can learn something, right? But I mean, there is a lot of information out there now, and which is something that 20, 30, I guess 30 years ago now, I'm saying 20, but 30 years ago, it wasn't nearly as available.
Well,
right?
The thing is,
right?
Yeah, well, to show you or to demonstrate or illustrate rather the difference between the North American perspective and say the Japanese perspective, and some of you guys are going to nod your heads. Fuji TV did a three-season series. I think it's called Plamo Tsokuru. Apologies for the pronunciation. Where it's kind of got an Iron Chef kind of feel to it, where there's the modeler versus the kit. And some of those episodes, I mean, they're on YouTube and in various states of repair, various quality. But some of those episodes are an hour and a half long. Matt, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ivan knows what I'm talking about. Poke around, look around on YouTube for those and just think to yourself, this was like a TV series, like an actual like people would tune in and watch it. And it's really impressive.
Yeah, watching Naoki smoking while he's spraying a lacquer without a mask inside a closed little Japanese apartment. It's absolutely insane. But
yeah,
actually, speaking of, I have
possibly go wrong.
Yeah, I have a library of Japanese modeling books in Japanese, and in the recent years, finally having the ability of having Google Translate on my phone and being able to read that. It's English because Google Translate's not perfect, but at least I used to only look at the pictures and go ooh ah, and now
Mhm.
you can actually get a pretty good idea, especially some of these guys who are doing scratch building and are talking about pretty advanced techniques. It's amazing what you can get at. It takes more time, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
Let me get in here in a minute here, because I understand where everybody's following here, and let's go back to, for example, our shelf queens. The ones models we've always been building. They sit in there forever, right? And then every once in a while we'll go back and like, maybe I should do this, right? And I have an old Stug that I built a long, long time ago, and throughout its time, it's evolved. It's gone from my painting style years ago back then to where I am now, and they're not perfect. And it's like, well, what do I do? I'm gonna finish it because I bought it, right? I'm gonna finish it. And along the way, you have a different perspective because you look at what you did before as to what you're doing now. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it kind of brings you that satisfaction because it was always sitting on that shelf haunting you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, it's finally off my shelf. It's built. So that's one of the things. And the other thing I wanted to say is that what we do in our models, we are truly influenced by what we are inspired by somebody or something that we see.
Yeah, that's true.
That inspiration will drive your next model project or what you're currently working on. And there are some things that we put down all the time, and I am notorious for that. I put down my paintbrush to do my figures, and that's a no-no because painting a figure versus doing a model, they're two different worlds. And if you put down that figure and walk away for 6 months and you come back, you won't paint it the same way, even though you did it. And it's a practice, and it's a frame of mind and it's a practice. And the thing is, you can do it. It's just you gotta put your mind to it and just go back and do it. And I used to think I could pull off painting a figure in one sitting, and I can't. And I realize that now because when I look at the paint, it's not the same as me coming back a second time to do it. For example, when I showed you those little Bundeswehr figures from Valkyrie, actually it's right here. These little guys here, if you guys can see them, these guys, I actually came back 3 times to paint their heads. And the first time I never did it right. And I was like, why? And I actually started off painting them in acrylic. And I thought I did a great job. And then, of course, somebody here says, the best thing to do is take a picture with a camera phone. And they're absolutely right. Because pictures from a phone or for a camera, they don't lie. You see all the imperfections, right?
Yeah.
So now that we have this wonderful technology, we should take advantage of it, right? So in anything we do, if we think the paint effect looks great the first time, take a picture with it with your phone. It'll tell you what you need to come back and do again. All right, and that's a great tip for anything that you do, especially when it comes to super detail or weathering or something, right? And the tone will be off or something else, and it's a great way of like coming back and making sure that you're on the right track, right? But putting a model kit together when you're following the numbers, B13 to B6 or whatever, and you glue them together, yeah, okay, that's straightforward. But the minute you pick up your airbrush, your paintbrush, that's freehand, right? You're no longer following a ruler. So it's kind of like, okay, you're off and going. Now it becomes artwork. So that's how I see this stuff. So, like I said, you're being inspired. You're being inspired, and whatever inspires you, it leads to your next project. I mean, I've been on this thing for the M48 tank for a while now. I've got like 5 of them, and all of a sudden, just recently, I'm listening to Elvis Presley, and of course, he had an M48 tank, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to get into it. But it's not leaving me. It's haunting me like a bad dream.